everyone, welcome to the Maximum Human Potential YouTube channel. So today we're going to start doing a series of interviews about some of my clients, getting to know them and the training systems we've worked together to produce some great results. So I thought there's no better way to kick it off than the under 90 kilo world's strongest man. So just give everyone a quick overview of yourself and we'll get into it.
Cool. So, what's going on, everyone? My name's Ngarimu Ahipene. Current OSG, world's strongest man, under 90 kgs. 33 years old. I've got a wife and 3 children, 3 girls, from a small town called Rotorua, New Zealand, a place called Oahu. I've been living in Western Australia now for almost 9 years. So I guess we'll find out more in the interview, but just a normal. I don't know. I guess we'll find out more. Soon.
So you've done quite a few other interviews, but no one's really dived into what makes you unique as a strongman and some of the different sort of training styles you've used and your different approach to the sport, which. In my opinion, and a lot of other people, you've really taken the under 90s to a new level, and it's something that can be applied to the entire sport, and you did it in an extremely short period of time. But before we get started, we need to cover the big comp you had yesterday.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So a couple of world records set.
Yeah.
Add to the resume. There's now 3 world records, so the axle press last year, and then yesterday was a dumbbell and the stone, so we'll just let talk about those for a second.
Cool. So, obviously you've done all my training, so you know we plan to hit a new dumbbell press world record. I was. We ended up hitting 105 kgs, 105.2 for our second attempt. It was the last successful one. We opened on 100 kgs, which was about 3 kilos over current world record. So it was really cool actually. It was really cool that we were even able to do it. Just because of the current situation. It was a few curveballs, I guess. With there being no spectators, because that can part of any competition is the spectators and how much they you enjoy the energy that people give to you and stuff like that. So, but look, then even them wanting to make a platform at the last minute, sort of stuff like that. That was that can throw some people off. But no, look, as far as the lifts went, I was pretty happy with 100. I was stoked to get it first try because I think in training the lead up, I actually missed it a couple of times, didn't I? It was 102 or 101.
It was just over. I think it was 101, meant to be 2 by 2.
2 by 2,
And you ended up getting 1 set of 2.
Yeah, 1 set of 2 and 1 set of 1. So look, I think warm-ups went well. Everything, I was stoked to get the, just execute really on those 2 lifts there, and then we had to go 108. But it just wasn't quite there. I think there was a small logistical issue with loading the dumbbell that might have played a part in just the balance of the dumbbell, I guess, in the end.
Well, I mean, that's something I'll definitely take on board. So just before I was loading it in front of the judge and it was rattling a bit, and I knew that would affect it. Looking back, I should have made the call to actually get you to do 106, but then again, that wasn't much of a jump for. So we were there to do something big.
Exactly.
And it just unfortunately just the way the size of the dumbbell, the plates we had, and we didn't have any kind of spaces to kind of stick it in there.
That's both of us too. When you're going for something like that, you want to try and eliminate all the unknowns, and we thought we'd covered most of them, but I guess we hadn't really thought properly about.
That was good. If you've got a world record, actually practice loading the exact weights and go to the venue, because you use slightly different size weights in training versus on the day. and they had to be weighed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like with any and that goes for any event really. Like the more data you can extract from an organizer, even if they're overseas, the less unknowns you're gonna have. Yeah, so I mean that's something for anyone can take away. Really, you're gonna try and extract as much. I mean, they say that strongmans can change it in a minute, but you try and get as much info as you can.
Get as much information as you can, but then always be prepared for the unexpected.
Yeah, 100%.
And when the unexpected comes up, don't let it affect your mental state.
Yeah,
because it'll always be there. Even world level events, there'll be last minute changes, time delays, all sorts going wrong, equipment failures. Yeah, that's the nature of the sport.
And then there was a dumbbell, and then the stone. That was really cool. Actually, I was really happy to hit that stone because. So what we went 180.
Yep.
I just switched off and didn't quite follow through on the 180. Maybe I was standing a little bit too far back from the platform as well. So I got up to the crossbar. Got it up to the top of the crossbar. I thought I was pretty much there, and sort of just backed off from it, and it came back at me. So missed that 180 on the first attempt, and then just decided not to do it again. I was going to pick it, but there was no point really. So
exactly.
It was a good call, just not having another go at that 180. Then we had to first go at 200, and
missed again.
Missed that again.
Yeah.
Just to add a bit of drama to the whole comp, but it was really close. I just and man, credit to Hoggy, like
So Jeremy Hogg, it was helping out, made a really good call that so Ngarimu on the first attempt of the 200 wasn't quite high enough, but he said next one more explosive, and then if we can get it sit on the bar, you can get your each hands under and push it over.
Yeah, I think Dan Macri actually said to get my hands around it, because he said I'm trying to push it up the bicep.
You got to bench press it.
Yeah, exactly. So man, and look, you can't buy stuff like that from those old heads that
absolutely
have been in these positions before. So man, just that's another thing I think that people can don't be afraid to take advice from the older statesmen and draw knowledge from everywhere you can.
You could be open to knowledge, but at the same time, if it's on comp day, there will be a lot of people giving you bad advice as well. So you've got to audit it and look at the people that you actually trust to make the right call.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's like a big one, a little bit more of a powerlifting example, but you'll see someone do some lift, and then they'll choose their next attempt, and everyone's like, oh man, that was easy, go up 10 kilos, and they get absolutely slammed because the person that's giving you that advice, they haven't seen you max that in training, and they don't know that you could be more of an explosive lifter, or that you're more of a grinder, and that you've actually got 20 kilos more, or that you're super explosive, and that's actually your limit. It's one of the things. But if you've got the right people around you that you can trust, invaluable in those situations.
Yeah, and I think that's another good point you make about weight jumps and stuff. We've made mistakes, in the past, trying to bite off more than we can chew. So
absolutely,
there's a fine line, isn't there, between trying to go for like an ambitious number and actually hitting an attainable number and increasing your actually banking the rep.
Absolutely, that's something as a coach I'll always err on the side of less rather than more, which is something we decided to do with the dumbbell. There's a bit of talk going for there was some of the comp, some people in the comp suggesting going for like the heavyweight record, which would have been a bit out of reach.
I think looking back at it now, it wouldn't have been there either. So
but 108 would have been there if we hadn't had that issue with the dumbbell.
It's hard.
But I mean,
I also learned something else as well.
Oh,
yeah. What happened with that 108 is that I got it into my first clean. I got it into such a awesome rack position.
Yeah.
It literally felt weightless. So I don't think I've talked to you about this yet.
Oh, well, you did actually.
Did I tell you last night? Yeah. It felt weightless. So when it was sitting there weightless, I sort of switched off about using as much leg drive as I needed to get it up.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it wasn't as heavy as it was.
Yeah.
So it took me failing that first rep to remember that I needed to really squat down and use as much of my leg drive as I could.
Yeah.
But by that time you expended all the energy and stuff, so it's sort of like my good clean worked against me.
Yeah.
But
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, if you nail the clean, you just got to take advantage of it and.
Well, it's just cues that you just have to think of all at once. So it's all good.
All right, so I mean that was a awesome day. So two world records, all-time world records in one day. So that's pretty good. Now we'll move on. So one of the most extraordinary things about your strongman career is you won World's Strongest Man under 90 kilos. It was slightly over 2 years after starting strongman training. It was actually after doing an official program was 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is my favourite number too.
Yeah, there you go. So pretty crazy coincidence, but that, I mean, I can't think of any other example where someone's achieved that in such a short period of time. I mean, you even look at like a guy like Novikov who won World's Strongest Man at 23 or 24. I think it's 24, which is extraordinary. But he's been doing the sport for a number of years.
Yeah.
Something like 4 or 5. I have to look that up actually. But I mean, 2 years is just completely unheard of, and to do it with such a big points margin. And how many events did you end up winning at Worlds?
I won 4 of the 6.
Yeah, 4 out of 6, which is anyone knows anything about strongman comps, that is practically unheard of to win 4 out of 6 events. That's a truly dominating performance. Normally, the winner might win a few events, but it's more they've accumulated points throughout. Alright, so touching on that, so it's a little bit facetious to say it's just those 2 years, 2 months and 2 days, because the base you had before was just as important. So let's touch on that. So a bit about your CrossFit background and the rest of your sporting background.
Yep. So
and what you think actually set you up for success in strongman, a real explosive, almost exponential rise in strength that you experienced.
If you look at the program, the CrossFit methodology is what we call it.
Yeah.
As a broad sort of training program, it teaches you how to, press, jump, squat, push, run, swim.
Yeah.
So you got to be explosive and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the rep schemes are literally like they're constantly varied. None of them are the same. There's you got sets of up to like 50 and 60.
Yeah.
And so just the pure amount of reps that you're getting in.
Yeah.
In your squatting, deadlifting, pressing.
Yeah.
Jumping. Not so much throwing, but in all of these sort of exercises, it's just ingraining this, ingraining all the movement patterns, so they become almost subconscious, like you don't need to think about.
I mean, but as far as throwing goes, there's still a lot of Olympic lifting, which is basically a weighted throw.
True.
So that's gonna
snatch.
It's gonna make it, if you can snatch and clean jerk, it's gonna be pretty easy to throw something over a bar with good technique.
Yep. And actually my first CrossFit coach, Brian Russell, we used to do throwing games after it's like a warm down. So we had hand-eye coordination stuff in there as well. So I mean, so CrossFit taught me all of those movements and ingrained these like thousands and thousands of reps over sort of 5 years.
Yep.
I think that I did it.
Yeah, I think we figured out it was 2013 to 17, so about 4 years.
Okay, yeah. For training it properly,
Yeah.
And so I mean, I was just learning how to move pretty much, but along with that, I think we worked out I did about 30 competitions.
30
along the way, CrossFit comps.
Huge.
So that whole time, learning how to strategize with teammates, learning how to mentally prepare for competitions. This is stuff outside of the actual fitness itself. Learning. I mean, even now how to like the stuff to bring to a competition for a whole day. Bit of mental, strategy, playing against other competitors, working together in a team, finding the most efficient way to do all these movements, practicing transitions, like all of that stuff is huge to when it comes down to actually competing on the day. So, and trying to minimize your time lost in between movements and events in strongman. So I was learning all of that stuff. So I started off at a gym in Morley. I was there for 2 years, I think, before I moved to, and that was really awesome. I mean, like, that was like an amazing place to learn. I'd work out there maybe like 5 days a week, I think. I started off at 3, then I went to 5. Just come straight from work, go to the gym, work out for an hour and a half. I did a lot of, I think that's where I did my first sort of squat training cycle. Brian made me do, I think it was like Smolov Junior or something like that. So, and the first time I tested my squat, it was like 180 kilos. So I was pretty
almost untrained.
Wow. Maybe I'd been training like a month or something. But
So, I mean, that's just pretty much learning how to squat.
Just testing your 1 rep max.
Wow.
So I was pretty lucky to be just have strong legs, I guess.
Were any what were the other lifts like right when you first started?
I think my very first proper CrossFit session, or the second session, I snatched 80 kilos.
Oh wow! Okay.
So I was an ugly snatch.
It
was horrendous.
Still, I mean, some people train for years to try to snatch 80. So.
But like, I think that's the one thing I always brought to not only CrossFit but the competition in general, and especially strongman, is not placing any not placing like a ceiling on your potential.
I've seen that a lot.
Or just not even considering what other people see to be the ceiling, not taking other people's opinions into consideration about what like what you should be able to do. And I think we've sort of done that over the last, well, not only just me, but as also as the strongman community, I've seen it more. We're just sort of doing like breaking down sort of so-called barriers of strength.
Well, I mean, I saw with the dumbbell the other day. You started to post your training about the dumbbell, and then it was about 3 or 4 guys putting up around 100 kilos.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll probably have to re-break your record next year.
Oh, I think so, man. Definitely. I think it's definitely in danger, but I'll look forward to being broken, because it's all that sort of stuff fuels me. But I was talking to Lee Shaw. Shout out to Lee. About dumbbell was we're chatting about how beginning of the year, maybe beginning of the year, when no one had really done 100 kgs. And then like once one person hits it, it's just like
everyone.
Shit. We can. Like 90s can hit 100 kgs. So.
And now with social media, it happens a lot faster. Like it used to be, I mean, like some people call it the 4-minute mile effect, where Roger Bannister ran the first 4-minute mile, and then other people started to do it. But if you actually look at the history, it actually took years You know, it was quite a bit longer than people think. It wasn't like immediately the next month everyone was breaking it. It took a while for everyone to catch up. But now the world's moving at a bit of a faster pace. So someone will break a record, and then literally next week there's 3 guys giving it a crack.
Yeah. And look, that's just what that's how sports progress though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know? So I mean, look at what Tom Stockman's done on the Stones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's pretty.
Yeah.
I guess that's freak. He's a freak.
Yeah.
People are going to be repping 260.
No,
stuff like that,
I mean one day, but not probably not for a while.
Yeah, a little while.
And also, I mean, are certain records that, in strongman, like the 500 kilo deadlift, there's very few people with the frame size or the ability to hold the amount of muscle it takes to actually pull that off.
Yeah.
Which is why I've only seen 2 people do it so far.
So I sort of went off track a little bit. We were talking about my training background.
CrossFit,
So CrossFit, trained at Morley for 2 years. I think the biggest advancement in my training though was moving to Injustice CrossFit.
Absolutely, yeah. For Injustice CrossFit is gym in Rockingham in Perth, and every time I've been there, I've just been blown away by the intensity, how strong the guys are. Everyone's physiques really. Everyone's just absolutely jacked. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Lean, muscular. As far as CrossFit gyms go, it's probably one of the more strength focused in Perth. Would you say?
Yeah, it's definitely known as a strong gym. There's a few strong CrossFit gyms around. Legion's probably the other one. I'll probably get told off for not remembering the others, but no, Justice is definitely a strong gym. And so I was telling you before, like the second ever workout that I did when I went to the gym. Was a 75-minute EMOM of, so it was like 4 exercises with a 1 minute rest, being the 5th minute, rotated for 75 minutes. And I was, I walked in late. They were literally just about to start. And I'm like, what are we doing today? And like, EMOM, 75 minutes, and I honestly didn't think I was going to finish, but man, it was me, Ryan, Kane, and Ernie. I'm pretty sure, and we just grounded out 75 minutes, and like the camaraderie that you build off the back of everyone completing something like that. Is you can't get it any other way than actually doing a workout like that with someone. It's probably. I don't want to compare it to the army, but I guess it'd be a similar sort of feeling. You go through a tough workout like that with some people, and you sort of build a bond. So that was sort of the beginning of my training at Injustice, and it was just like we always lift heavy. I'm always lifting heavy, so I was sort of like falling in love with lifting heavy. And
when you're kind of looking at the time, those guys were doing stronger. You're like, let's overtake them, and then you did overtake them probably pretty quickly.
That's it, man. That's probably, I think everyone who's trained in the gym will probably know that once you're the strongest or you're the fittest at a gym, you either need to bring other people in to push you who are fitter than you in some way, shape or form, or you need to move and go train with other people at some point. And that's the good thing about Injustice, man. That's I was strongest in Morley, went to Injustice, I was not the strongest anymore. Ryan was just smashing me and everything. And I just kept training, and then one day, beat him in a lift or something like that, and then it was just always someone to chase at the gym.
Absolutely.
There's always fitter people than me, but
I mean, Kane would push you on some of the.
Kane's a freak.
Quite endurance stuff,
especially with his cardio. My mate too was really strong as well. So I mean, training with those guys every day was just it was definitely pushed me to become better.
Yeah.
And so I think, just training, you can't really I guess you have to experience training like that for a while and then obviously we had we sort of got serious about it and had goals that we were training towards in CrossFit, like making regionals and then making CrossFit games. We've spoken about that on other podcasts, how much training we actually had to put in for those to make it to those events, like fair few hours.
Oh, I mean, it's unfortunate now, especially with social media, everyone kind of doing their own thing. You don't often see, and everyone, no one wants to commit to the same time every week because they want to be ready to go off and, they want to leave all the options open, so to speak. It's a lot harder to get like a training crew that's consistent every week. And unfortunately, you don't see it that often in strongman. I mean, you had a pretty good training crew for Worlds with Yana and Paul.
Yep.
And that was some of your best progress.
Oh yeah, 100%. Man, that was key to even with key to pushing each other so much during that prep, especially Paul. Being able to, because him being a scaffolder and he's scaffed up those stairs, those power stairs, which are a major key in being able to train and ultimately win that event. And then just give you the shit off his back and stuff, Paul. So it was man, that training crew and crew that we took over there was wicked. So just been really lucky to have some good community around me.
So we'll go back to when you first started doing strongman. So you basically jumped into a comp for a bit of fun, didn't really train for it. And at the time, so your best deadlift was around 231, around an 85 kilo strict press. I believe you'd clean and jerked 160 at that time. 160, and then your squat was about 210, 220.
Yeah, I think probably about 210.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you've done some good front squats as well before then.
Maybe it was 220 actually, my back squat, and then my front squat was 200.
Yeah, there you go. So really solid numbers, but nowhere near what you needed. And then once you sort of fully switched over to doing strongman, those numbers just shot through the roof. So the main part of the interview, I want to talk about some of the unique kind of training methods that have helped you get to that level of strength really quickly. And I'm not saying that necessarily anyone watching this podcast can, go from being a CrossFit athlete or a very strong CrossFitter to winning World's Strongest Man in 2 years. But if you take on board some of these tips, you'll definitely reach there a lot faster.
Yep.
All right, so we'll kick it off with the big one. One of your favourite exercises, the squat.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you don't see people training with squats that we work together to do differently to really, to get at 220 to 300, so basically 80 kilos in your squat in 2 years' time?
Firstly, it's not my favourite exercise.
Okay.
By any stretch of the imagination. I just know it gets me strong, so that's why I do it. But if I could, before, when I have off seasons and stuff,
that's true.
I just don't squat at all. So I don't enjoy it. But I know that it gets me strong, and so we've done. I think firstly I'd never really done. I'd done maybe a couple of structured programs beforehand, but nothing like the Norwegian methods that we sort of started off with, and nothing, no eccentric work. I've never really done any pauses or eccentric training, with like tempoed squats. I've never probably done any sort of structured programs to that level before. So definitely the eccentric training was good, just for it was like an untapped
resource
really, because I'd only ever trained the concentric of a lift or you know being explosive upwards. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend to be know that much about training, to be honest. I had to ask you what methods we use, because I literally just do whatever's on the program. Don't bother. Like, for me, right now, I don't need to understand all of that.
Exactly.
Just get you to do it, and I'll do the program. So, I mean, I know a little bit, but so it was like an untapped resource, all the eccentric training, and it was just crazy hard having to, you know, like hold these weights on, you know, in the eccentric portion of my lifts.
What do you think the hardest method that we've used was?
For squats? Probably on front squats, where we did those, it was like 20-second holds or something in the top. Or sevens?
7 at the bottom, 14 at the top.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Those squats, 14, those holds at the top.
Yeah.
You think that's going to be the easiest part because you're not actually going anywhere, but they literally, like, because it was multiple reps. 7 bottom, 14 top. Like, that's the closest I've come to like wanting to spew and like all that sort of stuff in squatting is those holds at the top of those front squats. Like, you're only squatting, I think it was maybe like 140 we got up to or something.
Probably,
Which is still heavy, but it's percentage wise, it's not like huge for me. But those, whatever that method's called.
So I'll just elaborate on that one. So that one I got from a pretty renowned coach, Travis Mash. So basically, he had this program. It's called, like, if you look up the Easy Front Squat program, EZE. So it's actually someone's name. So he gave it to this guy. I guess his name is Easy or
Ezekiel.
I'm not sure what he's, but anyway, that's what he called him. And it really revolutionised this guy's lifting, because he had all this explosive power, but his upper back was really weak. And once they fixed that weak link in the chain, he started being able to clean and jerk really big numbers in a very short period of time. So with this method, the first phase, you generally work up to a single. So you go down, you know, let's say you're doing a squat, you go down, pause the bottom for 7 seconds, then come up the top and keep your elbows up and hold for 14 seconds. And then you'll actually drop the weight and do like a 3x3 at a lighter weight with the same tempo. And the whole thing is an absolute killer, but nothing else strengthens that thoracic extension for the front squat. So everyone that does it gets a huge boost in their front squat, just being able to hold that upright torso position. And you really feel, people do it and you literally see their upper back growing.
Another one that was really tough was when we did the straps up the front. For the front squat. Yeah, that was that's pretty humbling. You can't.
So I got one off one of my mentors, Tom Hibbett. So that's another great one for the upper back, is not actually holding the bar, putting a lifting strap around the bar and holding like this, and crazy upper back strength from it, and way harder to hold position. The other good thing about that one is you have to be perfect with your groove, because you're not actually touching the bar. If it falls out, the bar just rolls off your shoulders. So you have to
really forces those elbows up, and you know, like your front rack that provides shelf for it so that it doesn't fall off.
Also pretty good for the log press, because you're getting that same kind of neutral position.
I think I've seen Tom talk about that. What else we also did, I say enjoy, but I didn't mind those. We got up to some pretty good weights with the like 30-second eccentric squats. So that was this little progression I invented. So week 1 you do. My daughter.
No, his daughter's just waving at us. So week 1 you do 3 sets of 1 with a 30-second negative, so only one single rep. Week 2 you add a bit of weight, you do 4x1, but we knock 5 seconds off, so it's 25 seconds. Then week 5 it'd be down to 20 seconds, but 5 sets. So week 3 would be 5 sets, and then the 4th week we reduce down to 2 sets and go heavy and try and get a big 15-second eccentric up. So that's an awesome one. because you have to nail the technique, or it's going to absolutely suck.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad position, lowering that down for 30 seconds is not going to be fun, and it absolutely ingrains it, because you don't get many opportunities to go that slow in a movement and really dial it in. So after a phase that, we'll take out the eccentric, go into more concentric work, explosive, using a bit of the stretch reflex, and you'll find the groove on the way up is actually way better. And once you get used to going a bit faster, after a few weeks of taking that eccentric out, you'll be stronger than ever.
Yes, so yep, definitely that. But one I also really enjoyed, it was good that to get used to heavy weight on the back, was that PMT.
Oh,
the squats for Arnold's in 2018.
Yeah,
18.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I actually I did enjoy that one.
Yeah.
So tell them about that.
So for those that don't know, PMT, progressive movement training. So one of the most famous proponents was this guy Paul Anderson. So just a sort of strongman, and you can almost call him it was a powerlifter before powerlifting existed. He actually competed in Olympic weightlifting, but he really just trained like a powerlifter and used brute strength in his Olympic lifting. So really interesting training methods, and I highly recommend, if you're a strength coach or you're interested in strength, buy his books, go to the source, because he has a completely different perspective that I've never seen anywhere else. And he literally designed his life around becoming the strongest person at the time. From at the time, there were no sort of BCAAs or amino acids, so he paid someone to put blood and ground up meat in a centrifuge, and he'd get it spun and then extract the basically purified amino acids from meat, and drink that during his workouts. Sweet. So really interesting stuff, and interesting training methods as well. He'd basically train all day with really long rest periods. There's stories about him setting up a little golf course in his house, and put some obnoxious weight on a squat and a press, and play a bit of golf, and then once he reached the other hole, he'd do a squat and then go back and do a press. With him, there's a few, bit of a line between reality and myth, but it's well worth looking into, and he had some great insights. Now, PMT, I've used his version with a number of clients with great results. So what you do, you pick a weight you want to squat. So let's say you want to squat 300, you put 300 on the bar, and you put the pins up so you stop to quarter squat level. And then you do 20 reps. So you need to go higher in reps because the range of motion is so shallow. And then you'll actually do it every single day, or every day that you train. So that'll be between 4 and 7 days a week. You can do it every day if your rest of your program reduced. Now you only do 2 sets, so you're not burning out. And every 3 days or so, we drop the pins down 1 notch, and then you want to work down to just above parallel. Because it's from the first reps for a dead stop, you don't actually need to go all the way down. So once you can get close to parallel, you take a few days off, retest, and you should be able to hit that weight. So Arnold's was a little bit different because it was higher reps, but we basically, I believe, used comp weight, repped it out, and then we slowly lowered the pins as we got close to competition, and then you absolutely annihilated that event.
That was stoked to win that event. But you have to. You get heaps of funny looks when you do PMT.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I remember the boys at the gym gave me shit for so long. Oh, you're doing quarter squats, this and that. But it's you just got to be prepared to get funny looks when you do that style of programming.
Absolutely, but it pays off.
Yeah.
Really
that touches on something else too. Is that just to go off on a slight tangent? Is that I think it's important when you're doing your own program, or you're doing a program that's customized for you, and there'll be people along the way who sort of give you stick about it.
They'll try to steer you off the path.
They try and steer you off the path. They might make fun of what you're doing. I think you really need to be selfish in yourself and mentally strong enough to
Absolutely,
either not cave in to do something they want to do, believe in what you're doing, believe in the process, trust the process, and just build that sort of, I don't know, resilience to not give in to other people's ideas of what's going to work. So that PMT is a prime example. Like, so many people were telling me that I was a dick for doing quarter squats.
I mean that's something that's I can't think of any time. I mean, there's a very, like, maybe I'd be able to count it on one hand. There's maybe in the last 5 years, there's like about 5 occasions where you missed like some small amount of the program because of like family commitments or just physically not having the time, and often you've made it up. But in terms of actually going off program or like going heavier or just maxing out randomly, I don't think you've ever done that.
Nah, that's unless it's off season.
Yeah, off season is different, but when you're actually training for a comp.
Yeah, and I think because they drilled that into me. So if we go back all the way to when I had my first program from you, wanted to do a whole lot more really, because I was used to doing training. Probably at the time that I started training with you, I would have been training 3.5 hours a day in total. In 2 sessions.
12 weeks.
6 days a week.
So 12 sessions a week.
Yeah.
And I think that initial program we did 6 or 8 sessions.
Yeah, and so
which is a big reduction, and then eventually got you down to 4.
Yeah, and then I remember being like, can I do this? Can I do this? Like, you need to stick to the program. You need to stick to the program. And so after that first training block, and then getting like great results, ever since then I was just trusted in the process and sort of almost religiously just not done anything off program. Because I think if you do something off program and then you fail something the next week, that's all on you. Like,
exactly.
And I'd much rather not fail something when it matters than do something just because I wanted to. And so I think you just, by not going off program, you don't give yourself an excuse to fail.
Absolutely.
So, that's sort of my model.
That's a really good perspective. All right, so we'll go on to pressing next. So obviously you came to strongman really good. You know, able to use your legs well, 160 clean jerk, but it must have been a bit of a shock the first time you lifted a log or an axle.
The log is definitely. I mean, I think maybe like I remember we trained log, and I remember like we had 3s at about 110, something like that, and my max clean jerk was 160. So, and those 3s were tough. At 110. I might have been like 3 sets, 5 sets of 3 or whatever it was, but still, my work capacity was way up there, but I was still finding. And that was only on I think it was like an 8-inch log or 8.5 or something like that. So baby log, but that was probably the hardest thing. Coming into strongman was having to learn how to learn all of these new skills. Because like I had raw, like traditional pressing, but learning how to press the log, the axle, Viking press, all of these skills, like strongman skills, I'd call them. They still take a while to learn.
Well, I mean, so for those of you that don't know, the implements in strongman are chosen to actually make it harder to use like an Olympic lifting technique because of the awkwardness of the object. So, Nara's one of the few people that can pull it off and really do some great Olympic lifting technique, but it still takes a lot of that power out. You've got no flex in the bar. It's dead weight. The log displaced from your body. So with strongman events, you need raw shoulder strength. So you need to be able to strict press a lot of weight to succeed, and that was something that was pretty lagging going into strongman.
I thought it was pretty good, but well, I could strict press like 85 kilos, I think it was. But yeah, then that was, I think, so we did some training methods there. We did a lot of eccentric work for that too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did do a bit, yeah. Possibly something we want to bring back in, because that's one we haven't done with pressing for a while. We do a little bit this cycle.
Yeah, but the training on strict press and getting that up was huge for my pressing, and just building just hypertrophy in my like in my shoulders and stuff like that, and all the accessories. I never did accessories in CrossFit, so like I had a huge untapped potential with my delts and traps and all sorts. You know, that must, because I was 87 kilos when I first started strongman. Yeah. So being able to, I guess I got away with pressing by using technique for a long time, and then once we started adding hypertrophy and you know, strict press and some of your other pressing training protocols, you know, once I put on a bit of size, it transferred straight away.
Well, I mean, one of the when you're pressing really took a jump was the first time we did something called the deep water training program. Now, what were those workouts like mentally? I think actually the first time was, I believe, on the Viking press, but it was for an Arnold's. It wasn't for Worlds. And it was so good we actually reused it for our Worlds prep.
That's right.
Just with a few modifications.
So for those who don't know, we did 10 by 10. We started off with 10 by 10 push press at around 70% or something.
Around, it might have been 60 to 70% of comp weight. So 100 reps on the Viking press. Actually, so 60 to 70% of your max.
Of my max.
Yeah,
that's right, because you got me to test the max out at the beginning. So we did 10 by 10, and then we dropped it down to do the whole thing in 7 sets, was it?
Yes, so we did so we'd go like 10 by 10, and then we'd, I think you actually missed the first time, so you had to repeat it.
And I got to 99 reps and missed the last rep. Yeah. That's right.
And right as I missed it, I was like, oh, you got to repeat that. And
so we did that twice.
So 10 by 10s twice, and then we did, it goes to a 6 by 15, 1 by 10, and then a 5 by 17, 1 by 15, and then if you're really feeling it, you could even push for 5 by 20. So I got that training method from Mr. Deepwater himself, John Anderson, and I highly recommend getting his book to kind of expound on that training methodology, which is, there's a whole, you could do a whole podcast on that methodology, but we'll just cover it for pressing.
You learn a lot about yourself. You really got to dig deep, especially for probably the last two, if you've weighted it right, the last two sets. Missing that last rep, like, it's crazy how that can happen. Like, but it's like, there's not it's good for like obviously muscle endurance, like your mental capacity to be able to push through and tick off 100 reps in the session. Your technique, like your technique's got to be on point. Everything's got to be working together, like triple extension, explosive strength from your legs and your quads, the timing through to your pressing, getting your head through, like hand position. You learn a whole lot from that, and you just can't even really count it on one hand. And you just have to do it to realize what you have to adjust on the fly to actually make every set.
I mean, it's always it's hard to explain how hard this training method is. But would you say it's up there with one of the hardest ones you've done? For shoulders anyway? Pressing?
Look, it's hard for me to sort of remember right now, because there's been a lot of water under the bridge, but it is, I think where it gets even harder is if you're consistent with your rest periods between. But it's more just mentally, mentally hard, because you gotta, it takes a long time as well. Like it,
it does. Yeah.
And as if you got other stuff to do afterwards, which we did because it was always on an events day.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough to push through.
Yeah.
I guess the only saving grace that I had in that program was it was a push press, so I could use my legs in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for some people, it is good for strict press as well. Some people, but push press can be beneficial because you can really push past fatigue.
Yeah.
Because it's a full body movement, so strict press you just hit a wall.
Yeah. No.
Whereas push press, there's actually no reason you can't complete the program. It's all mental.
Yeah.
But it's just some people just cannot handle the pain.
Yeah.
But it's a push press. You can use your legs. There's but a lot of people I've seen attempt it, and they literally just do not have what it takes.
For me, it wasn't really painful. It was more that I would fail. Like I'd be giving it my all, but I would just like fail. My muscles would fail. So it wasn't sore, but it was just tough because you had nothing left.
Yeah.
So no, definitely.
Yeah, I mean it probably wasn't as tough for you because you have the CrossFit background.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, it's a big it's harder than anything that
True,
you've done.
probably,
Yeah.
No, yeah. Oh, I've given it to people and they fail too. So.
Yeah. But yeah, it's also, I mean, it's such a shock to the body. If you fail, you often come back the next week and smash it.
Yeah, which we did.
Yeah.
It builds character.
Absolutely. Any other ones you thought like protocols for pressing that you were challenging or you thought really effective?
Yeah, so we had those partial lockouts.
Yep.
Which again people will give you stick about.
Yeah, well, I'm still getting shit about it today.
Yeah.
Haven't done it for a while, yeah.
But like the proof's in the pudding, really.
Yeah.
So you have to with the partial. Lockouts at the top, but then full range of motion reps.
Yeah, but we've also done them from the bottom as well.
Yeah. Oh, heavy loading at the bottom.
Yeah.
I really like that heavy loading at the bottom, potentiating the lift.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. So
just getting used to.
Yeah, I'll just jump in on that one. So basically, what he's referring to. So for example, we had a Viking press. This same prep. So after another deep water phase, we loaded up the Viking press with a weight that was let's say he was pressing like 140 that day, he might pick up 180, which is going to feel really heavy in the hands, and then we're going to drop to 140, and he'll actually break a PR in terms of reps, because now it feels so light. And then I apply this to push press, so one of the best gains I made, I was doing 400 kilo partial rack holds, and then I'd go and rep out 120, 130 in push press, and it just kept on going up and up every week. So really underrated, underutilized protocol. Just making those weights feel lighter, potentiating the nervous system, tricking it into more output.
Yeah, I think it's did you say it's underused?
Underused, yeah.
People just won't try it because they think it's bullshit. So,
no, they don't want to be the partial rep guy in the corner of the gym with 20s out there at the bar and weights taped on, but that's what it takes sometimes.
It's a pretty good little weight loading.
Yeah.
So there was that. Have we done isometric holds?
So we did isometrics the first time we strict pressed 120.
Yeah, I think that would be cool to go back into doing some isometric, because I think it'd be good to do to the next training program.
Yep. So what that was, he was catching up on the a big strict press. I wasn't certain he hit the 120, but I knew he had a big strict press in him. This was actually the same training cycle for Arnold's, and he was just missing right about here. But you could tell the strength was there. Just the basically the motor neurons, everything the muscle fibers weren't firing to surpass that sticking point. So we did some sets where it set up like say an immovable weight in a rack, drive into it for about 6 seconds, then we do a full rest, and then we do his work sets. And of course you're used to getting maximal motor unit recruitment from there, so one of your work sets is going to absolutely blast through that sticking point.
Yeah.
And you got some really good gains out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pressing.
Yeah, and we're always changing up, so that's probably something we want to. It's worked in the past. It's probably time to throw it back in.
Yeah,
into the mix.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else you wanted to add on pressing?
Not really. Just use your legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Learn
I
technique.
go on about it all the time, but learn technique. Use your legs.
Yeah.
If you can use it, if you can use your legs, unless I haven't been in a show or seen strict press tested in strongman.
Never. No.
So you should always be able to use your legs, even in a strict press. So just learn to use your legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Just on that, even if you don't let us split your leg, please just learn how to push press.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many guys doing push presses and they're holding it at their chin.
Oh.
And that must drive you insane.
Oh, I don't care at all. That's fine. People can keep.
Is it shocking to you, even at the world's strongest man level? There's guys with that technique.
It's
kind of in rack and bar.
Yeah, it's just like.
What do you call it? Laziness or just?
I guess. Maybe they're stubborn. I see heaps of stubbornness at World's Strongest Man. You saw I won't say who, but I saw a lifter last year, and his friends were telling him not to be, because belt cleans were allowed last year. This athlete decided that he was not going to belt clean, even though he was failing all of his belly cleans. Right, and his friend on the sideline, who's also a well-known strongman, was telling him, "Don't be stubborn, belt clean." And this dude just refused to do it. I don't know, maybe he didn't know how to. But to see stubbornness like that can cost people events. It's just. That's a whole nother story. All the bloody. But belt cleans, this and that.
That's a rant for another day. But to me, it is like I think
it's lazy.
I'd really like to see in the next 5 years, everyone actually getting a front rack. That'd be a big step forward, and I think it'll happen. But
people blame flexibility. Well, flexibility can be worked on.
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of the easiest flexibility things to master. It's generally just a little bit of tights and lats, which can actually be pretty much fixed after a few weeks of stretching.
Well, the amount of energy you waste holding a bar out here in front rack rather than it being on your shoulders, whereas your spine and body is taking a load of weight.
Absolutely, and the amount of leg drive you're wasting when it's not resting on your body. It's being, as you dip,
absorbed in your arms. That's
crazy.
Free energy going to waste. But competitors want. I don't mind.
If they want to disadvantage themselves, it's up to them. But the fact is they're going to be left behind if they don't get the picture soon enough.
Yeah, you obviously have genetic freaks who just, but then even them who people like that who can still do ridiculous push presses and stuff out of the front of the rack. Just imagine. I just can't think of how it being in their rack properly would not positively impact their numbers. So.
It's not when I watched One Strongest Man in the Philippines a few years back, Martins is probably one of the only guys with a proper front rack. No one's shitting on him for that. No one cares. Just leave your ego at the door and do it properly. All right, there's a rant for the injury. So we'll just moving on to events. So we'll just talk about what I call your signature events. So we'll kick it off with stones. So what are some things that have sort of transformed your stone lifting and allowed you to break the world record?
So probably the main thing, the main training strategy, I guess, that we use is doing one motion stones. To high heights. So couple hundred centimeters, a couple hundred millimeters, whatever above whatever you're intending on. You're loading to. So say you've got a competition that's got to 1.2, we'll load to 1.4,
Yeah.
or wherever is practically, wherever you don't have to change the motor pattern of your stone lift.
So there's obviously a height where it's going to be excessive. We have to turn into a press. Which is not what we want. We want a height that's going to challenge your extension.
Yeah.
But not actually turn it into a press.
Yeah. So I guess we're talking about just loading to a set height. We're not talking about a stone run where you may a multi level stone run where you may actually have to press the stone up. We're talking about just a single height.
But I mean, even if you're training for that, the majority of your training would be with this method, because that's only going to be the light one at the start. So you have to do some specific work for that.
Yeah, it would still be focusing on finishing the last stone.
Which is
likely
absolutely.
to be where you have to use this method.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the one motion stone movement in itself, it trains all aspects of it. Like your pick off the floor has to be bang on, because you have to squeeze as hard as you can off the floor, because you don't get a chance to readjust.
Perfect. Yeah, really well said. Yeah.
So it has to be squeezed hard into your high up onto your chest straight away from the floor. You learn then how to transfer the weight transfer and learn how to drive, swing back and up and forward with your hips.
Yep.
So you're learning that transfer of weight from forward to back. Forward to back, I guess. Hips back to forward.
Yep.
And learning how to drive upwards with the stone and get all of your drive to drive the stone up with your hips.
Yep.
You're then learning how to extend with the stone, and for me, this is where everyone fails, is in the third part of the extension. So, and the only real way to get better, there's a couple ways. There's the McNally's, but another way of getting
this is superior.
Another way of getting. So you made me fucking lose my train of thought. Okay, so you want to spend time in extension, and the way that we see it, the way of getting better, of actually being able to get better in the extension, is spending more time in it. And unless you're picking a stone up off a platform and just doing extensions, is doing one motion. So we do one motions to a high height.
Yep.
Spend time in this, third extension of the lift.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a heavy weight, because you're not going to be able to one motion really heavy weights.
Yeah.
But just spending time in that position, working that top part of the extension, I think is really valuable for when it comes down to the competitions. And
I mean, the other thing, you have to be explosive with the one motion.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to rip. You can't half-ass it.
Not at all.
And that's how you need to go into stones, with that mentality of doing it every rep as fast as possible.
Yep, and I think that's what we sort of found. That's what we found on the weekend.
Absolutely.
I had to be reminded to, be explosive and had to draw back on the training but I just fell back on that training and the fact that I had been explosive and reminded myself to do that. Do you want to get a charger?
No, it'll be fine. We haven't got too much more.
No, we don't. Okay, cool. So one motion stones.
Yeah, one motion stones.
Really, really helpful. They work the whole.
Yep.
They work your grip. They work chest positioning, being explosive through the hips, driving up, and time and extension.
And then the other key was stone of steel, ideally. If you don't have that, no tacky for most of the year.
Yep.
But the one caveat I'll just put in for anyone who wants to try this at home, you've got to have a base of doing hardcore heavy stone workouts with lots of tacky and lapping and loading before you use this as your mainstay.
Yeah.
Like make sure you've done a few comps, or you've done stone. Yeah, have your base technique, because basically what we're saying is we're doing minimal work on the actual lifting comp and prioritising this very specific assistance exercise essentially.
Yeah. So you need to be able to lift stones.
All right, and then another one we'll touch on is loading. So you can't see it here, but in the background there's a great photo of you winning the loading medley at Worlds, and to me, I mean, that was in quite a few people's opinion, that was one of the highlights of Worlds, was seeing how you attacked that medley.
Yeah.
And also how you walked away not even out of breath. Yeah. And other people on the floor after.
Yeah, well, it's well documented that we trained that pretty hard.
Yeah.
We did like a 10-minute sort of version
of
the loading medley.
So that was basically that method was so it was a which implement do we use? Which was the hardest implement? Sandbag or keg? Sandbag?
No, I think I used the Husfell.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. Okay. So what we do, we take the most challenging unit. So in his case, it was the Husfeld stone. Run that 15 meters, and then drag the sled 15 meters. Run back the Husfeld, and then so on until you've done 5 of each.
Yep.
But using a weight where you can't actually complete it continuously, which is fucking tough. So it's not just you can't run. You know, you go in the mindset, I'm going to attempt to do this back and forth, but after a few, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of just breathing, but then you're against the clock the whole time. Like, what was it like doing some of those sessions?
No, that was the hardest part of Worlds, was that training.
Yeah.
Was that those sessions. There was only maybe 3 of them.
Yeah.
I want to say so, it wasn't that many.
Yeah.
But flip, I used to dread.
Yeah.
Like, it used to make me feel sick. I'd be procrastinating, getting everything ready, just knowing I was about to die, and I was always doing it at the front of chalk with like people inside and that.
Yeah.
Nah, that was legitimately some of the hardest strongman training I've done.
Yeah.
Was for that event. So paid off.
But the thing was that wasn't actually super heavy.
No, it wasn't heavy.
It was around 60% comp weights, I think, 50-60%.
It wasn't heavy, but with dragging a sled on tarmac.
Yeah.
Once you've lost the momentum with the sled, and once it just stops moving and you don't have enough juice left in your legs to pull it continuously, it's not going to move easily. So the gravel just bites.
Yeah.
The tarmac just bites. It was tough.
And it's the transition. It's the sled and then the run as well in between.
Yeah.
Because the you can start staggering the implements, but then one's going to be here, one's going to be here. Then you have to end up running back, and there's no way around it.
And then
it's going to suffer.
Yeah, there's nothing much to say about it. It's just really, really tough training for it. So got to that stage.
So I actually got that method from a guy called Mike Westling, who's a very little known strongman coach, but actually quite successful. Coached Don Moore, so won. Actually, I believe it was Don Moore. He's coached the lady that's won World's Strongest. I should know who this is. But anyway, he's coached the lady that's won multiple World's Strongest women titles. Christian Rhodes. Anyway, I should know this. But anyway, and he also coached Andrew Clayton, who's a really great athlete who's making a comeback as we speak, which is good to see.
That little known. What's it?
Mike Wesley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Correct. Has some great athletes, and I think he's just compared to like some other coaches, he's not as he's got quite a big client base, but he's not as vocal on social media.
Yeah, true.
It's a bit of way to put it. Anyway, so in his he wrote this great article, strongman cardio, he called it, where you're basically just taking 2 strongman implements, 50% loads, and you're doing exactly what we did, 15-meter runs back and forth until you've done 5 of each. And the first time you do it, I mean, if you're a really fat heavyweight, it could take 20 minutes, but you just got to get it done. If you're in pretty good nick, it'll take 7 to 10 minutes, but you want to slowly over time get that sort of 5 to 7 minutes, and then you'll be in an awesome spot for comp. But I love that training method. And I've applied to a lot of events. Like that had this comp which had a sandbag loading medley, which had 3 sandbags, and I actually went really light. It was like 80 or 100 kilos, but I did double the distance, so 8 loads over 30 meters with a 80 kilo sandbag. And for some people that's going to be easy. If you're 120 kilos, it's not a very fun workout. No. But on the day, they actually cut it back to 10 meters, and I wasn't even puffed after. So it was great method, and didn't even have to go heavy, because often the strength is actually covered if you're doing heavy squats and deadlifts, but you can really target the endurance aspect, and that's going to carry over the other training. You've got to be fitter, so you recover from heavy squats faster, presses, stones, and get more volume in less time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, I mean it's loading, and then we'll cover one more event, your axle press. So obviously you've got the world record in that one.
Yep.
So 166 kilos, which is a pretty historic number actually, because that was the original weight of the Apollon's axles, which they were named after.
That's right, yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, and we didn't even think of that at the time, but
no.
Yeah, very historic, especially for a 90 kilo athlete to hit that number.
Yeah. You wanted me to talk about
Yeah, so just sort of, how did you kind of master the technique of the axle? Like, how did you go from transitioning from a 160 clean and jerker to a 166 axle? And it might seem like only 6 kilos, but in reality, the growth you actually had to experience to gain 6 kilos on a hard lift was extreme.
Yeah. Sheesh, it's like so long ago now. But I remember we drilled. You'll have to remind me. You want to talk about the training methods we did for it, or just my experience with it?
Well, actually, for that one, the prep was pretty short because we'd come off. Actually, I want to think that was an Arnold's.
Yeah.
And it might have even been the deep water kind of.
Yeah. And
then we did a pretty short prep where we were targeting it, multiple times a week.
Yeah.
And then just getting used to those higher intensities, and then just basically just a 1 month peak. But we'd done some phases before.
Yep.
We'd done quite a bit of volume on axle press, but that was a few months before.
We did heaps of push press.
That's right.
With like I wanted we did heaps of push press.
Yeah, a lot of push pressing
with the axle I remember there being quite a high number of cleans as well.
Yes. Yep.
Do we just clean once a week, and then we did clean and jerk on the other day?
We did do some like just
clean only.
Yep.
I just remember that it being like having to clean a lot.
Yeah.
But what it did do was really refine my technique for the clean. And I think the biggest thing about the axle press is your ability to be fast in transition through the weight. Especially when you've got like 160 plus kilos, you don't want it to be sitting on your stomach for long, or your belt, or even up in your rack for that long, or having to do multiple movements to get it up into the rack position. So I really focused on getting the transition from my torso to my rack really fast. Yeah. And that just reduced the time under tension.
I mean, definitely the push press was key, because if you look at, like say when you did your first 160 clean jerk, what would your push press have been at the time?
Oh, maybe like 110.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, 110. And then, I mean, before you did that, I mean, it was probably like, what would you say your push press was?
I think I got a 150.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, you've done 150 for reps before.
Yeah, but I think that program I got 150.
150, yeah. I think you did push 150 press for 3 a while later.
Yeah.
So it's probably around 160 push press.
Yeah.
So when you compare that to what he actually split jerked on the axle, you're probably only getting like 6, between 10 5 to 10 kilos.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, people always go on about, split jerking and stuff like that, but I've still got a good push press.
Oh, absolutely.
I just milk the last, bit of
absolutely
potential out of my press with the split.
For you, it's just a free another, 5 to 10
Even
kilos.
the dumbbell,
the split's probably adding even less on the dumbbell. Potentially.
Yeah, well, I was push pressing. I could still push press like 90 plus kilos on the dumbbell. So
exactly,
it's anyway, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, as well. It does bring us back to push press. It's the strict press and the push press are really the key shoulder movements, especially in off season for strongman.
I think so.
And probably on a barbell for the most part, just getting the basics right.
Yeah. Learning the mode on the barbell, because even the push press, some people find the timing hard to learn. So.
Yep. If you can't push press that bar, you're not going to be able to push press the log very well. Yeah,
or axle.
Yeah. All right. So that's anything else you want to add on axle?
Put more on that.
Yeah. So I think you've got a bit of a number in your head for next year.
Yeah.
Gonna share it with everyone?
No.
All right. So we'll cover pretty much everything we want to do. One more thing, we'll just talk a bit about comp strategy. So one thing I see in strongman is a lot of people will put off competing for a long period of time until they feel like they're ready.
Yeah.
So they'll do a comp, they'll get disappointed in themselves, and they'll say, I need to go away and rebuild the engine.
Yeah.
And they want to come back, better body composition, bigger, faster, leaner, more explosive, all these physical attributes. And I don't often see it, because what they're doing is they're thinking that strongman is just being, this happens quite often in heavyweights. They think strongman is being this absolute monster in the gym who's got as much muscle mass, or just a lot of people as much bulk as possible, when in reality it's actually a sport. So they're focusing on things that are very important. They're focusing on nutrition, maximal strength, supplementation, like recovery, but things that aren't actually competing in the sport. So they're focusing on building. It's like they're making this amazing car.
Yeah.
But they're forgetting that they need an experienced driver to make it around the track.
Yeah, that's
and win the comp.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add on that one?
No, well, I think you pretty much nailed it, but to expand on it a bit more, there's so many. What if we just name some of the areas that I think about in preparation for a competition. You've got obviously your mental state going into the competition day. How you're choosing how you're gonna how you're going to. I don't want to give too much away now, but you got your mental preparation for how you are going to run yourself on the day, right? How you're going to act on the day. Let's say. You've got how you interact with people, how you you let other people affect your mental state. You've got strategy, and actually being able to think on the fly. You're like how you mentally let changes affect you on the day. You've got how. Well, then there's probably stuff like how where you're gonna sit. There's a whole heap of I guess comp day factors, or that you don't really get to learn until you're in competitions. Or you don't get to experience until you've made mistakes. And stuff like that.
And then you definitely didn't shy away from competitions. So we worked out you did roughly about 5 a year. And Worlds is probably roughly a 10th comp. I think we had to include maybe like a Highland Games in that tally. But you did it basically as many comps as you could. in WA, which is obviously limited, so we're not not like some European countries where there's comps every weekend.
Yeah.
Which is an extraordinary opportunity. But then when you went to Worlds, you had all the confidence from all the CrossFit comps.
Yeah.
Which really carried through, and which you've done 30 of, which I didn't actually realise you'd done that many.
Yeah.
And then that really put you like you seemed like you've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And there were guys that were faltering who'd done way more strongman comps than you.
And I guess that's I mean that's the thing. Like I've only been doing it for 2 years, but I've done a whole lot of other competitions. So one of my strongman competition experience wasn't that advanced. I have been doing competitions in other sports, and that's that also sort of brings me to a point where I'd be like, like I hear so many people say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this one at novice, and I'm gonna wait, until I'm ready." You're never really going to be ready for a competition. And if you think about it, if you just jump in a competition, you're going to be way more experienced than if you just waited, another couple months to go into a competition when you think you're ready. And even if, sorry, not to cut you off, if you,
keep going.
Because you push yourself so much in the comp and do things that you didn't expect you'd be able to do in a competition, the confidence you get from even doing one rep on something you thought you couldn't do is huge compared to doing a novice comp with all manageable weights. I just encourage anyone to just get into it.
I mean, we see Novikov is one strongest man, and he last year competed something like 43 times. In your opinion, how often, if you want to be good at strongman or even great, how often do you think people should be competing?
I think as often as you can, but still being able to get, at least sort of 3 training cycles in. So so you're not just competing and not actually training to get stronger. So I think you should be able to get like 2 or 3 12-week training cycles in for preparation for decent comps. Well, I guess it depends really. Like I'm thinking about if you want to, be the best that you can be. But maybe if you are brand new to a competition or brand new to strongman, because there's so many modalities to learn. I think maybe compete as often as you can until you've got a good grasp of some of the events. But the thing is, you'll never learn all of the events. So.
But like minimum, how many comps a year? Do you think?
Maybe a minimum probably 4. I mean that's one every 3 months. So if you have the opportunity to do at least 4 a year, I think that's definitely
perfect.
Good amount of competitions.
Cool. All right. So we'll finish up with one more question. So obviously you're world's strongest man. What would be your advice to like the young guys out here who want to achieve a similar goal, maybe in your weight class, maybe in another weight class? What do you think they need to do?
I think at the end of the day, you have to do anything possible to achieve your goal, right? So you have to. Goals and dreams don't just come true by wishing them into fruition. You have to actually go out there, put yourself around a good group of training, good training group, or put yourself in the right gym that you need to be at that has all the gear you need. You need to do your research. You need to learn all the skills that you need to do. Pretty much, you just have to go out there and make things happen for yourself. If you think you need a sponsor, you need to go out there and just ask sponsors. Like, I got my first sponsor. I got my second sponsor, my main sponsor now, by just asking them, right? So like, you need to go out there and make things happen for yourself. You need to be respectful. Along the way, because you can't go burning bridges and expect people to support you. And being respectful builds a community and the following. So you really need to be respectful, make things happen for yourselves, get yourself a coach. Don't be pig-headed about things, have an open mind. And just if you do want to go, you need to make all the sacrifices necessary to, you know, if you've made all the sacrifices that you can to make something happen, then you're giving yourself the best chance to, you know, to achieve your goals and dreams and stuff like that. And if you know, if you're cutting stuff out, like going out with the boys and, you know, eating right and all that sort of stuff, it should all build confidence for yourself, and you know you're giving yourself the best opportunity, then I guess you just need to put in the work and just strive for your goal, and ask questions. So we're literally like social media now. You can reach out to anyone in the world, and you're likely to get a response. So don't be afraid to ask questions. People message me all the time that I don't even know, and I'll talk to them. So just go after it. Like, you have to go after it full steam. There's no half-assing it.
All right, well, that's a great answer. Hopefully you guys gained something from this interview. So there's plenty more to come from this YouTube channel. And thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And let's get this channel pumping a bit more. Get a few more subscribers. If you enjoy this content, please share it. And then finally, I've also still got spots open for coaching. So if you're interested in that, just message me on Instagram at Maximus McCall. So thank you very much. And plenty more content coming from Noah as well. We're going to start filming a few of his training sessions soon, so stay tuned for that.